Master Remit, in partnership with Bittersweet, makes sending money to Africa simple, fast, and secure. With competitive rates, instant transfers, and 24/7 support, we make it easy for you to send money home anytime, anywhere. Join thousands of satisfied customers who trust Master Remit for their transfers, knowing your money is in safe hands. In collaboration with Bittersweet, Master Remit, transfers made simple.
What's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of the Bittersweet podcast. It's your girl, Wintana. And this week, guys, I'm so excited because we got a seasoned guest in the building. Can you guys recognize the laugh? Can you recognize the voice? It's the one and only Milena B.
Hey, Pookie.
I actually love having you on the podcast because it's just always just a continuation of our chats.
Straight up.
Guys, you don't get it. Milena's the type of person that you would get it by now. We just talk for hours.
Yeah,
so
it's like basically our normal talks broadcasted.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Literally.
So
I'm excited. How are you?
I am so
You look really
good.
cute.
Thanks.
I love this two-piece set.
You too. You're
Thanks.
looking expansive today.
Girl,
yeah,
you know.
manifest. I love. I was gonna say, yeah, I'm good. I had a bit of a scare, sis.
I know you recently had surgery.
I did have surgery, and it was thankfully we're on the other end now.
Amen.
And we're all good, thank God. But basically, guys, I had an appendectomy. Like emergency appendectomy, and thank God again I'm fine, and I discovered it early on, so we got that sucker out of there. We're good now.
Girl,
and
I was like, I remember, and you called me, and I'm like, what? Surgery?
Oh my gosh, it was Easter as well.
Yeah, it was Easter, and she called me, and she was like, I'm going into surgery, and I'm like, what do you mean? I was freaking out.
It was such a chaotic, because it happened in the span of 12 hours, the turnaround time from me starting with stomach pains to, oh yeah, I'm having an emergency appendectomy.
It's so scary.
But thankfully, again, like we caught it early enough. And all I have to say about that whole process is listen to your body. If something feels weird or off or just out of the ordinary, check it up. Better check it up first.
Then regret it later. Because it's crazy. Like, I feel like similar to you, I would have just been like, oh, whatever.
Literally, because it was the middle of the night.
Yeah, it's just like, let me just go through the pain. It could be a cramp. It could be this. It could be that. So it's actually like very scary how something can just flip, because your appendix can like explode, right?
Yeah. That's the worst case scenario. It's like, and it's one of those things where it's acute. It's an acute thing, which means like it's not something that builds up and happens. It's something that just happens. So there's no premeditating. There's no like habits or anything that you can do to prevent it from happening. It just happens. So mine just happened, and thankfully, like I was able to manage. I managed to get it early than later. But yeah,
so
shout out to Chat
because she did ask Chat.
Guys, Chat low-key saved my life, because
but give them context, because you didn't just ask Chat like what's going on.
So I'll give you a quick rundown. Basically, I was having stomach pains. It was the middle of the night, and as Winnie said, in the middle of the night, Easter weekend, you're not trying to go to the hospital emergency, and y'all know emergency, you'll be there all day.
Yeah.
So I was like, let me just write it out. And then I was like, no, let me just ask Chat. So I ended up messaging Chat, and I just asked it, hey, these are my symptoms. What do you think I should do? Because I'm not a free thinker anymore, apparently. Yeah. And then Chat was like, yeah, look, based on your symptoms, call this 24-hour nurse service, which, by the way, guys, this is a plug. Check out this online service through healthdirect.com, 24-hour, if you want to get through to a nurse and check your symptoms. And if you're not sure what to do, like call them. I got through within 10 minutes, and then the nurse did a little assessment over the phone and was like, hey, I recommend you going. And mind you, this was at 3 a.m. in the morning. So obviously, like if I hadn't gone through that whole method of asking Chat and leading into the nurse and stuff, I would have just slept.
Exactly.
And I would have gone, who knows what would have happened. But again, we don't want to think about that, because we're good now.
We're good now. And
we're
that's what, I mean, this is a disclaimer. Do not use ChatGPT to ask about your medical
don't
conditions.
Don't.
But that was definitely like,
but
it came in
using
handy.
it as like to make the decision of what to do next.
What to do.
What to do. Yeah, but don't use it as a medical professional. It's not a medical professional.
But I'm glad it worked out, sis. We're
Thank
alive.
you.
Lucky
We're
that it was
okay.
like a not every day, but like
It's a common procedure. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. And
but anyways, in good spirits. Good spirits, good things coming up.
Yes.
We're going traveling.
Yeah.
We're actually not traveling together, but we're traveling at the same time.
We are.
Well,
but
technically we're
basically
traveling together. But like what I meant was, first of all, you girls are going to London.
Hey,
we're going to London, we're going to Europe.
London.
What I meant was, Milena, you're going to see to see a friend, and I'm going to go see my sister. And it was just like the fact that we lined it up is perfect.
Exactly.
It wasn't planned like that, but
Sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do.
The fact that we're gonna be in Europe together, I'm so excited.
I can't wait too. It's our first overseas trip together.
Yeah, which is crazy because I wouldn't even like for some reason I feel like I've been overseas with you.
Same. I feel like I've definitely lived vicariously through you.
And me too. Like, I feel like we talk so much as well. Like
that's true.
Either about it or when we're there, when we like I don't know, come back and talk about like what's happened. So it just feels like we've been on a trip together.
Exactly.
But we haven't.
So this is the official time. You're gonna see us. Look out for the content.
The
we're gonna be in the
vlogs,
airport.
Everything.
Yeah, everything.
It's gonna be a time.
Yeah, I'm excited.
And you've never been to London before, have you?
I haven't. I've never been to London. I was gonna say Europe, but I have been to Germany one time a long time ago.
And
to
you
visit family.
just went to Germany and came back?
Yeah, literally.
Okay, yeah.
I just went to visit family, and at the time I was also injured, so I was limited in movement. But this time it's gonna be like a bit more of an intentional trip. And yes, I'm going to go visit my friend, but I want to do all the things like London. Yeah, you know, it's something that I always see people talk about, the culture of London. That's what I'm looking forward to the most specifically. Like the culture, the melting pot of people that I'm sure I'll meet.
You'll
and
see.
The cultures.
That's why I can't wait for you to see as well. I'm going to try my best to show you like certain spots and areas because I also feel like I haven't been to London in such a long time that I almost feel like I'm
a tourist as well.
Yeah, like if you had asked me 3 years ago, I'd be like, oh, London, like I know this place so well and I feel like it's my second home. But now I feel like London is just, it's like I'm a tourist again.
Really?
In a way, I feel like I know it, but I also feel like I'm not like attached to it the same way that I used to be.
Of course,
but I still always have like this memory in my heart. But I definitely do have to like go back and be like, all right, what's the vibe of London? I'm excited to see my sister. My sister's
so excited.
It's so funny because we swapped spots. So she's like living in London now.
Yeah,
she's been there for 2 years.
2 years.
Going on to this is her third year in London.
What?
Yeah, she's literally in her third year, which is
That's
crazy. So if she's more of a London girl, and like knows
London
the local,
girl.
than I do. So I'm so excited.
It would be good to see it from a different lens of someone who's living there as a local, right?
Yeah.
And just like been there for a while. I'm excited to do all the touristy stuff. I can't lie. I want to do English stuff. Like I want it to be English.
Do
I don't
like
care.
baked beans?
No, but I'm about to. I'm gonna try it out.
That's the one thing the British. I'm just like, guys, their food is
not
just
appealing.
Yeah,
it's not crazy appealing, but I am willing to try it because I'm in London, you know.
Yeah.
And I want to try I want to do the tour, the little double-decker bus, the what do you call it? See the big like monument stuff. Well, actually, like Big Ben, Buckingham Palace, all that good stuff.
All the good stuff.
I just want to see that in one go.
Yeah.
Just finish that off, just for
That's
the
like
sake
a
of being
day.
there. Yeah, a day, or even like I feel like I can do that in a few hours. No.
I don't know. I feel like
it needs a while.
kind of because you're going from this side to this side. You're like
it's not
maybe
all
get
on
tired.
one side.
I don't know. Sis.
I don't know why I think
I'm the worst with touristy
really?
stuff. You know, when I was in New York, I was like, I didn't get to see the Statue of Liberty. And then I did a 1 day back to New York. So I flew back to New York for a day.
Yeah.
And I remember I saw the Statue of Liberty like while I was landing on the plane.
Damn.
I'm like, perfect. Took a photo from there. And I'm like, I saw the Statue of
New
Liberty.
York,
As long as I saw it. Because for me, like sometimes I get excited about it. And then sometimes I'm like, I just don't care enough to see it. You know?
100%. Like for the most part, I'm like that too. I'm a lazy ass traveler, to be honest, when I travel.
Yeah.
But I just feel like considering how much we're spending to go to London, I'm like, I better see that damn palace.
And considering that you're actually posted in London, it's not like a 1 day, 2 day trip. You're actually like you've got some time to actually go see it.
But I do want to see like the countryside of London.
You said that to me, and I would be down to go. I'm down to go see it with you.
Yeah,
I'm just like I'll be just following you. Following your lead.
I know.
You take the reins, sis.
Yeah, because I'm really not a city girl. I shout out to the city girls.
Shout out to the city girls.
But I'm just not a city girl.
Really?
Yeah, girl. You know me. I'm like the tropics.
You are the tropics. You're the tropical girl. Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's because I grew up obviously in a city. Yeah. And I'm used to the concrete jungle of it all. I'm like, I just want peace. I just want
That's the thing. I grew up in the city too, and I feel like the thing is, I feel like I don't even know. I like everything for its purpose. Like if
Okay.
I go to the tropics, I like going there for the purpose of like relaxing,
yeah.
being there. But I can't imagine myself just living there.
Okay.
But then if I'm in the city,
Yeah.
that to me is like an everyday vibe. Like I want to be in that.
Really?
But eventually I think I do see myself just like not off grid, but just somewhere peaceful.
Peaceful.
Because it's just so hectic.
That's what I'm
It's so
saying. I feel
hectic.
like city is just hectic, and it just reminds me of everything that is hectic. I'm already a stressed person. I don't need like my environment to remind me that every day. And I think because I'm gonna be stressed anyway, so
But
I might as well.
the tropics is like, I think it's later on in life. Because I think what will stress me out
Yeah.
is being so in a place where there's actually like nothing happening. It's
Fair
so slow that I'm
enough.
just like, unless I have like nothing to do, like retirement, I'm
okay, I
chilling,
get that,
and
I
I'm
get
like,
it.
okay, like I don't actually have worries.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
I can
I get
just
that
start new
appeal.
hobbies.
No, for sure. Like I
Yeah.
see that, and maybe that's what I'm also alluding to. Maybe, but at this point, I can't see myself like wanting to. Even like when I travel, though, I don't have an interest in seeing like the city. I want to
Yeah.
see like, yeah, I don't really care for that. I want to see more of like. Yes, like I said, London. I want to see the monuments real quick, get that out of the way. But then, for the most part, it's like let's just chill in the
Yeah.
in the markets or whatever. I just want to keep it low
just keep
key.
it. I know what you're saying.
And
Yes.
and then also I would like to go because the countryside looks different too. It looks different to city that you see here and stuff. Because isn't London anyway very similar to here, like the actual city part?
I wouldn't
That's what
say
I've heard.
it looks the same. I wouldn't say
Really?
that. No, I
Even
feel
the
like
ci-
the
the-
city, like maybe even the main city feels grand. Like
More
the buildings are
than here.
huge. Think of like heritage buildings in the city. Like you know
Yeah.
how we've got one of heritage,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
you know, here and there. I feel like it's that.
Really?
It's the architecture is different. Yeah, of course. Compared to
thought-
here, it's like old Victorian houses as well. And they've got like the big buildings that are like, it's very grand. I feel like in the
Wow.
main cities. And then the suburbs, I would
Yeah,
call
yeah,
them
yeah.
the suburbs. I feel like they just have this aesthetic where it's like you feel like you're in England. Like it's kind of run down, a little bit old.
Yeah, that's what I.
But and like the same. I feel like in Australia, it's like suburban life feels much more like I feel like what America would look like, which is
Oh,
more
interesting.
houses and greenery and
Yeah,
this.
yeah, yeah.
Like, London is like a concrete jungle. You want to talk about? I don't
Really?
think Melbourne is a concrete jungle.
yeah.
Melbourne
yeah.
is just like
no.
it
I
feels,
don't think
but London feels very like concrete jungle.
Really, even the suburbs.
The suburbs even more because it feels like it doesn't. It feels like everything is very similar,
Blocky,
and
yeah?
then blocky.
Wow.
you know what I mean, and kind of run down and old, and you're just like, oh, it's a lot.
Okay.
but it has an aesthetic to it. Like I can get I get the charm.
Okay.
I'm excited to go to France.
gonna ask you,
sis.
yeah.
Like the south of France. I
Really?
just want to be like.
First,
Let
let him know. Let him
what
know.
I mean? Like, just I want to get my cute little dresses,
Yeah.
and just like on some grown shit. That's
Yeah,
what I want to feel like.
purr.
She's giving cutesy. She's giving like just pretty girl
In it.
in her.
Sorry, I had to say
Don't
it.
kill me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No,
just
yeah,
in
south
her-
of France. I
Just
didn't
and
even
the
think of
south of
that.
France because basically my trip was gonna be. This is me with no common sense. I was like, we're gonna go from London. And then I'm going to do my birthday. Like, I'm going to go visit my sister, be in London. We're going to do Paris for a little couple days, come back to London. And then I was like, I want to go to LA. No, I want to go to Mexico. And I
Yes.
want to go to, I think, the Bay Area was
Okay.
what I was trying to do.
Okay.
That's not happening.
Really?
That's not happening, sis. What do you mean? I'm staying in Europe. What is, like,
you
what
told
am I
me that.
driving for? I didn't tell you that.
No, you didn't tell me that.
I'm
So
not
burning.
going to. But
Yeah.
I was telling everyone, I'm going to go to Mexico for my birthday.
Yeah, man.
I'm going to be in Melbourne for my birthday, actually. Because
Oh.
by the time I get back, it'll be just under a month. So I'm just going to go from the start of June
Yeah.
to the end of June.
Okay.
And I'll come back. And because I'm not doing the Mexico, like I just wanted to be like on a boat, on a yacht. Like I wanted to do something pretty. I'm like,
UAE,
South
come
of
to UAE.
France. Yeah, UAE, but South of France is.
Yeah. Oh,
So I'm thinking of going. You're like, yeah, just come to Dubai.
Yeah, come to Dubai. 'Cause I'm going to Dubai.
She's
too
going to
for
Dubai
10
on the
days.
second half of her trip, but I'm gonna do Paris. There's gonna be like a festival there, and then I'm gonna go to the south of France,
Okay.
and that's just where like I just want to be. Just
I need to look into it because I don't.
I've
I
already
can't.
visualized my aesthetic. You know what I
Okay.
mean? I'm just excited for that kind of trip because usually my trips I feel like they're never really. They're kind of, I don't know, fast or like a lot of movement. And this, I think this is more like I'm spending time in places.
Yeah.
I'm just like trying
vibe.
to chill.
That's
I'm not
my
even.
vibe,
I'm not
sis.
even.
Yeah, I love
I'm
that
not
for
even,
you.
Yeah, like
We need
I'm
it.
not even trying to do tourist spots. I'm just trying to
Yeah.
relax.
Yeah.
Where's the nicest hotel?
Straight up.
What food places can we go to? Can I go shopping?
Yeah,
like
yeah,
that.
yeah.
I'm just trying to be a girl.
And guys, I'm saying this about this stuff now, but who knows? Like, I feel like once
No,
I get
want
there,
you, because you've said this so many times, I want to make sure that you.
but like,
do
if
that.
it gets too over, if now I didn't even think about like how touristy it's gonna actually be.
Yeah,
because
if you can
everybody's
just
gonna
do
that.
it in one day.
Okay.
Smash it out in a day.
Okay.
And then other days we'll just go like, I really want you to see. I feel like London has a culture that's just
That's
like,
what I want to see
in
the
your
most. I've heard
face.
so much about the culture of it, and I would love to see that the creative culture as well.
Yeah.
a little bit, and just even hearing people talk, I think I'm going to be very intrigued by it. 'Cause
Yeah,
it's like
it's such
a
a.
real
I love
life.
the British accent. Anyways, I'm excited
Speaking
for
of
this
sexy,
trip.
no.
Speaking of sexy, segue. Okay, so I saw a tweet.
Okay.
And we usually like to do a little icebreaker on this
Right.
podcast, even though I
Yes.
feel like we've broken the ice.
Yeah.
We're gonna do one for the sake of the culture.
Sounds good.
I saw a tweet, and the tweet said, "I actually love sexual tension more than sex."
Okay.
And I recently watched the movie Sinners.
I did too. Yeah.
And I was like, oh my God, this is like the perfect tweet to pair up with this, with the movie, because that whole movie, first of all,
Yeah, let's
was
talk
like,
about
okay,
it.
there's a lot that goes on,
There's a lot.
in there, but I'm just going to focus on this tweet and that
Okay.
movie, where it was like, there was so much tension,
Yeah.
so much sexual tension, so much flirting from everyone, from everyone. I know. Okay, so let's talk about Michael B. Jordan, obviously the one in the obvious like main character in the room. For some reason, every time I listen to this guy, every time I watch his stuff like on social media, or when I just see like paparazzi, like whatever on him, I don't find him that attractive.
Same.
But every time this man is in a movie,
Yeah.
it's just, oh my
Yeah?
God, he gives just daddy.
Okay.
Michael Jackson, he gives
Michael
like
Jackson?
Michael Jackson, Michael B. Jordan. Michael B. Jordan, he has like this thing about him that is just
Okay.
very like alluring. You know
Fair.
what I mean? So I was just like, everything about him was just like, yeah, the tension was in the room for me. I loved it.
Okay.
The second one, and I was hesitant to talk about this because we literally looked up his age off camera, and he's 20 years old.
He's
but
a fresh
let's not talk
20-year-old.
Sammy. Sammy was fine in that movie, and I
Yeah.
think it was more the character he played.
Yes.
First of all, the voice was so deep, which was insane. He was the
Absolutely.
singer, and it was his like confidence.
Yeah.
Like his character. What I loved about this movie is like there were people where I felt like, in any other regular movie or in everyday life,
Yeah.
they would just be seen as like the side character or the other.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So
Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
Sammy,
Yeah, yeah.
Annie.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
it's like he was the little scrawny cousin.
Yeah.
But the role he played was like, yeah, I'm that guy.
I'm grown.
You know
I'm
what
grown.
I mean? I'm
That's
grown.
what
He
he
even
gave.
made that line.
Yeah.
He told the girl, she was like, "Oh, are you your cousins with those like bad boys or something? Like,
Yeah,
aren't
yeah.
you just a little like the little boy or whatever?" And he was like, "First of all, I could be bad too.
Yeah.
And second of all, I'm not that great. I'm not that young," or some shit like that.
Some
And I was
stuff
like,
like
"Okay,
that.
Sammy. Okay, Sammy. You know,
stand up. Yeah.
stand up." They gave him that line. They gave him another one. She was just kind of brushing him off, and she's like, "I'm married, by the way." And he
Yeah.
was like, "Happily?"
Oh,
I said,
they gave him some good lines, guys. So
they
I'll give
came
you
up
that.
with really good lines. And
for him.
I felt
And
like
he
I felt like
delivered.
the tension in the
Yeah.
room. Every scene was like. Annie, we talk about Annie's scene, and yes, there ended up being a sex scene there, but it was like the eye contact that they had,
That's what it
the
is.
way that she would like touch him, the way she would talk to him, the things that she said to him, and I was like, this movie. They knew what they were doing. Is it Ryan Coogler?
Yeah, exactly.
He knew what he was doing when he was talking about when he was trying to like create tension without, you know.
Yeah, sensuality.
through.
It was focusing on sensuality instead of sexuality. That's what I read someone talk about. And that's the thing. Like, maybe you can put the video here of this video on TikTok, but this girl kind of gave a good breakdown of it. And she talked about how Sinners was a great example of showcasing what it looks like to be sensual, to focus on sensuality, as opposed to like the sex part of it, the sex. And that even like with the lack of nudity of the women, her talking about that, I thought that was very interesting, because true, like you didn't see a lot of nudities, but yeah, and
we
usually
didn't see any.
We didn't see any nudity.
Yeah.
No, we did a bit when Haley Steinfeld was having sex with.
There was no nudity though. She was just on top of him.
She was naked though at one point. When the guy came in, she was naked. Like you couldn't see her. I'm pretty sure
She wasn't,
naked.
babe. I literally watched it today. She was wearing her dress. You just saw the silhouette, the dress silhouette, but she wasn't naked.
What about when the guy came in? He's like, "What the hell is going on here?" When the brother came in,
Yeah, she wasn't naked.
she wasn't naked.
No.
Okay,
Her
well there you
dress was
go.
on.
Look at that conditioning.
Yeah.
It makes me think that she's naked.
No.
But yeah, that's because Hollywood always portrays, especially women. They're always trying to showcase nudity.
Yeah.
For selling points, whatever. But now it was great to just see the tension build up. And as we know, for a lot of women, I think this is why it appeals to women a lot, because a lot of the time women, we're about that. We're about that build up, the sensuality.
The foreplay, and even foreplay is not necessarily in the bedroom. It's like foreplay is before.
It
like,
starts
how are you
from
taking me out? What are you saying to me
What
when
are
you take me out?
How are you
Like,
handling business?
you know what I mean? What are the
outside?
little things you're doing? What are the little
Yeah.
gestures you're? And this is what men need to understand. Like, it has. Like, it's the gestures, it's the cute little, like, the thoughtfulness, the all
consideration
of that,
for sure.
all of those things is foreplay.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
so you just. That's why when I saw this, I was like 1000%. Sometimes it's like the dance of like the lead up that
the
is
lead
the
up
best
of
part.
what could be,
What
as
could
opposed
be.
to actually
and even if it doesn't
happening.
happen, it's kind of like that was.
I'm already there,
I'm
honey.
already-
Yeah, you know, like,
that was enough for me.
that's
Like,
what I'm
actually
saying.
like I'm content with this.
That's what I'm
You know what I mean? And
saying.
I feel like once. Yeah, like the sex itself is like cute, but
It's
that,
not cute.
Yeah,
I'm sorry,
it's
I feel like the sex part ain't cute. It's like, okay, we're here now. But I feel like the leading up to it, focus on that. That's the best tip.
Focus
for
on
y'all.
that.
Don't worry too much about just focus on that. Focus on that, and you'll be good. No, but I was gonna say, like, speaking on that though, it would be good to understand, like, Annie. Let's focusing on Annie.
Yes.
So Annie, if you don't know, if you guys haven't watched her, her name is Wunmi Mosaku. I'm so sorry if I mispronounced it.
Yeah.
But anyway, when you first saw her like on screen, what was your first?
So you know what's crazy?
Yeah, what was your first perception?
I remember, like, I watched this movie like today, and I remember being like, initially I was confused. I was like, okay, what is she? Is she like an auntie?
Yeah,
Is
that's what I
she
thought as
his like mom, or like just best friend, like someone that they grew up with? Because obviously the love interest is always like this, like the ideal beauty standard.
Exactly.
So definitely I was like confused at the start.
Yeah.
Or I was like, he has this deep love and respect for this woman in his life.
Sure.
That was all I thought. And then I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah,
She's not. Yeah.
Same. And that's the crazy part. As someone who like exists as a big black woman, for me, I was shocked that I even thought about that like that. But really, that's what it is. That's what we've been conditioned to believe by Hollywood and the commercial media, whatever. She's never, I guess, the love interest.
Yeah.
And especially with someone like Michael B. Jordan, who fits the conventional
standard.
standard.
Yeah, you're just kind of like, how did
attractive.
these-
It's like you would never imagine those two together, but they did, and I love that they did that.
Same.
Because it even broke my kind of internalized
biases. Yeah.
for sure, and it just made me think that, why did I think like that? Because she was darker skin. Like for me, it was the plus size part, because her being a bigger woman, I'm like, surely she's not gonna be like,
and
no
also
way.
it's even for me, it was like they're fit together, because usually they would have like this big man with a woman that's a bit more like petite.
Yeah.
And I felt like she was like almost, if anything, like bigger than him in a way, is
She
how
was
like she
bigger
came
than him,
across.
though.
You know what I mean?
She was.
Yeah, so I felt like I was like, okay, this is like an interesting, like how does this dynamic pair up together?
Yeah.
You know
and
what
then
I mean?
once you saw them together, it made sense.
It
like
did.
especially the way they interacted with each other. Obviously, the sensual part as well of
Yeah.
everything was very attractive, and it worked. But it's like, it just goes to show, give it a chance, because you never it works just as good, if not better, than the conventional beauty standard that you portrayed. And even I was watching this video of someone talking about how I think Ryan Coogler may have done that on purpose, where even with the marketing of the movie, he makes it look like Haley Steinfeld, the
white passing woman.
woman, she is. They made her
She's like
look
the
like
main
she's the main
character.
female interest, but actually Annie is, and she has more roles. She has a bigger role in the movie than Haley did. But I think that was intentional to kind of
lure people in,
and then once they see it, it's like, oh, this is different, but I like it. 'Cause you see, like, it's still got a great rating and stuff like that.
Yeah,
and
it was such a good, and I loved just the role she played. I loved their dynamic together.
I agree.
Because it felt like, even when they died and they had that scene of her passing away, I'm like, my God, this
That
feels
part.
like real love.
It felt like soulful love, like real.
Did it mean that she
soulmates.
was pregnant?
Yeah, I think she was. Was it? Yeah, I think she was pregnant, or Yeah, I think so. I
Yeah,
can't
because
remember.
it's like, where did the
I
baby
watched it a
come
while
from?
ago. So
Okay, no. So basically, at the end, like,
yeah, the baby. She was carrying
there was
a baby.
So it's like he killed her, and then the baby. They were on the
Yeah,
other side
yeah,
with the
yeah,
baby. So
She was pregnant because she was. I think she was pregnant. Yeah, yeah. I don't know how to.
was there any other part in the movie that showed?
Because I think when she was trying to she was trying to tell him that if I'm turned, kill me. I think there was something there that talked about or kind of like again alluded to the fact that she was pregnant. Like leading up to me watching the movie, I remember I was trying not to look at spoilers, but I had a few people reach out to me being like, this movie is so good, you need to watch it, da, 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 da. I'm like, all right, say less, I'm gonna go watch it. Went to watch it, but again, also I'm definitely not the analytical movie person. Yeah, I can't see it for the hidden messages until I read about it after. So yeah, I did not pick up on all the cues. And I feel like the concept of the movie was great, personally. However, I don't know if execution hit it for me. I don't know if it hit me like that. And I respect and appreciate like what it was trying to do. But it didn't hit me in the way. And I love scary movies, by the way. I love scary movies and thrillers and stuff like that. But
is this considered a scary movie?
Yeah, it's a thriller. There was a lot of jump
thriller, yeah. But not like, I don't know, I hate scary movies. So this one wasn't really like scary for me.
Yeah. I was actually gonna ask you if that was scary.
No, it wasn't scary. I feel like maybe because it was predictable, like where the jump scares were gonna be. I was like, okay, it's fine.
Yeah,
but it wasn't scary.
Okay.
It was just more like
of a thriller.
Yeah. Thriller.
Yeah.
Love thriller, and like, you know. Yeah.
Yeah, like
I love a love story, I realize. I love a love story.
Yeah.
Especially like a what do they call it? What's it called? Where it's like
unconventional love?
Not unconventional love, but it's like kind of like a doomed, like you might not be together, like kind of love.
Like
Do you know
the
what I mean?
Romeo and Juliet.
Yeah, like I love, like, have you ever watched Queen and Slim?
Oh, I
Where
did.
it's like,
I did.
They just end up, it's just like this real, like they love
tragic
each other.
love. It's
tragic.
tragic.
I love a tragic love story.
Damn.
It's so sad because I'm always like, I just hope they get together again. Or like, I hope like something, you know what I mean?
You're
I'm
talking
always,
to
like,
an ex-Twihard.
oh
I'm a Twilight
my God,
fan.
girl. Do you know what I
Tragic
mean?
love
It's
story.
like, I love a tragic love story. It's just like, yeah.
I do too. So definitely there's an appeal.
So when there's always some sort of love in a movie, I'm like, yeah, I have to.
As long as it's tragic.
Not as long as it's tragic, anything. As long as it's like, if it's like a scary movie and there's no, like I might give a movie a 6 or 7 out of 10, right? But then if there was a love element to it, you'll get an 8.5.
Oh, per.
Like I love it. I love that. There has to be something in there that just gives me a little bit of like, you know?
No, 100%. So if Annie didn't end up, spoilers, if she didn't end up dying.
Yeah.
Would you have still liked it?
I would have still liked it. I kind of would have been happy as well.
Okay,
like, oh my God,
cool,
they made it out. You know what I mean?
Yeah, nice.
But I just love that there was a love element in it. Yeah. 3 different love stories there.
Yeah.
Anyways, let's move on.
Yeah. That was a good movie.
I wanted to talk to you about, I guess, the thing that's kind of been buzzing, and all over the internet is the Diddy Trial.
Whew.
And it's crazy because obviously this came out like, how long ago now?
What
when Cassie initially,
like last year at least it's been a year.
Has it been more than a year?
More than a year. Yeah, at least.
So that came out, and now obviously they're going to trial.
Wait, you're saying from when Cassie revealed?
First revealed, yeah. So they're in like the middle of a trial right now, and it has been very. I feel like obviously like all this information is coming out. Cassie's gone, like she's been put on the stand, and like Diddy's coming out with his lawyer is Brian Steele,
one of his lawyers,
who is the same lawyer that got Young dug out. And there's just a lot of information. I can't even narrow it down, but I feel like what has kind of scared me during this whole thing is that the facts are kind of there already.
Yeah.
Diddy has like done what he's done. And now it's like a dance around how do we get him out of it, or how do we lessen his charges?
I think lessen his charges because there's no way he can get out
completely
of this.
walk away from this.
Yeah.
But also like I've been seeing so many like reporters, because a lot of reporters are in the trial in the courthouse, and they're coming out and they're talking about it. So like there's like Lauren from the Breakfast Club.
Okay.
One of this girl, I can't remember her name. She's a Somali lawyer. Yeah. She's on like TikTok talking about it as well. There's different lawyers that are going in and like kind of like repeating what's happening to us and like giving us different perspectives. And it's crazy how like the whole game of law is just like, how do we make him look like appealing, and how just to lessen his charges, and how do we paint him out to be almost like, not that he was a victim, but they were both drugged up at the time. They were both going through the same thing. She was equally as abusive, and kind of like reducing what she has gone through to like
lessen his charge.
Yeah, and it's very, very scary. And I think for me anyway, it's just like it's scary. And we always hear like how much it takes for a victim, a sexual assault victim or any sort of abuse victim to really come out and like be able to prove everything she's gone through, even with so much evidence.
Yeah.
She's still like, it's like I'm listening to what they're saying, and I'm like, I don't know if this guy's gonna get charged the same like, you know what I mean? I don't know if this guy, I think this guy's going to get away with a lot of the things that he's done.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think this is a great example of, again, the power dynamics at play here. The power dynamics are, he's got a lot of power, this man. He's got a lot of money.
A lot of power.
And for something, and imagine all the abuse victims and stuff that don't have access to these kind of things.
Yeah.
Like Cassie is someone who is in the public eye, who does have, power herself, and her coming out with evidence that you can see with your own eyes, being like, hey, this is what's happened to me, and it's still being doubted. That's just the way the law is. And that's what I've started to, like, again, listening to a lot of true crime stuff, they go into like the trial of things sometimes, and it's not always fair. We already know that. Justice is never always served, but it's just interesting to see like what people are willing to do. Because I always thought I'm like, how do lawyers, and I've asked some lawyers this, like friends of mine, I'm like, how do you defend someone who's obviously guilty? Like, how do you do that? Because is that not lying? Like, you can't lie though as a lawyer. But what my friend told me is that's why they never want to hear the full truth. Yeah. He said to me like, it's the way that it's said. So if I came to a lawyer and I'm like, I killed someone and this is how I did it, then it's like, oh, like you've told them, and it's kind of makes it a bit trickier. But I think what they've said is it's like they try to reach around. They try to kind of go around and try to be like, oh, okay, so what am I trying to say?
No, I get what you're, and that's
they grasp at straws really to try, and especially if someone's like very obviously guilty, they never come to them and be like, hey, I did this crime. They kind of just try to focus on, okay, look, how can we just defend to make you look lesser of a criminal or lesser of a person who's guilty.
And that's what I mean by like, it's like a dance around the, like, obviously these lawyers are not, they're like very good at their jobs.
They're very good. Like even Brian
like
Steele,
manipulative. You're like, you understand
you kind of have to be a little
really well.
For sure.
Yeah. And it's like, you almost, like, you know what you're appealing to, you know what I mean? And you also like, I just feel like they know the law so well.
They
like,
do.
You need to be able to,
and
it's like, but it's like you're using certain like precedents that have been set and like, I don't know, to really be like, okay, like even though you know the facts, really in the court of law, like it could also be this, and you know what I mean? And it's
100%.
Like,
and even scare tactics, like they use scare tactics as well, like challenging someone into their face. Imagine someone's coming at you and be like, but you were there at this time, at this point. Even if that's not true, you're like, was I? I don't know.
And
like,
that's also interesting because there was when Cassie went up on to like testify. Yeah. Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
She I think they asked her questions about like, oh, so you said on this day that you were you like, basically they said that you were in the car when this and this happened, right? And she was like, or you orchestrated for this to happen, and she was like saying, no, I never said that. Well, they're like, oh, well, that's interesting that you say that you never said that, because according to these like statements here. And it's like, I don't know. Like, have you ever been in a situation where like you said something, and you don't remember you said something, and someone's like, hey, Milena, like you, what do you mean? So I've been in a situation like that where someone was like, why are you acting like you don't know what happened there?
Exactly.
Like you literally said, I'm like, I don't remember saying that.
Yeah. And
so it's especially if you're drugged up, if you've got like, you know what I mean?
Power dynamic,
so much trauma
abuse,
you're going through.
Stockholm Syndrome.
Yeah, like you can easily forget certain things. And it's like, I feel like she would have had to go through, like, I don't know, just the amount of practice as well before trial. Yeah, she would have to go through, because they're there for like, I don't know. I just feel like they're coming in for the kill. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's their job, and they're getting paid enough to do it. So it's like, and that's why he's got this whole group of lawyers. He's got not just one lawyer, he's got a whole army of lawyers because he knows he's going to need someone. And each lawyer, from my understanding, focuses on one aspect of his charge. So Brian Steele, I'm pretty sure, is for the sex trafficking and the big charge because he's the big man he's one of the big people in the thing. And if you remember from the Young Thug trial, and I didn't watch the trial so much, but I watched like people talking about it in comparison to this, and they said how even the whole thug, him trying to say thug stands for truly humble under God, and then there was a picture of Young Thug putting up, I think, gang signs, allegedly, but he said it doesn't look, it's not B for Bloods, it's P for pushing positivity. Reach, see what I'm saying? Grasping at straws, but that's their job. That's what they have to do. They have to convince. They're not there to get facts and truth, and that's what I'm starting to understand. They're there to what is it called? To win. Yeah. So at any cost.
It's literally
and it's to win for the. It's a game. Yeah. And so it's just interesting seeing the tactics that they use, or like even this like major word that you said, the psychology of it all, like the way they dance around. Even I watched this video of this other. I guess she's a reporter of some sort, and she was present in the court as well. And I watched her YouTube video, and she was talking about just the jury selection, how they pick the jurors, because they're trying to pick people that will align with what they want, right? With what the answer that they want. And it may not necessarily be, I thought it was something like, oh, you pick a jury, like I thought people get jury duty randomly, and then from there they're filtered out based on, oh, do you have any close connection to this person? Yeah. And that's it. I thought it was a simple thing. Yeah. But it's actually a lot more intricate, because first they fill out a questionnaire, and the questionnaire has like very intricate questions that are related to the case. Yeah. And then they're asked like if they know the person, if they know the places that are mentioned in the case, if there are any relation. And then they're interviewed as well, individually. So they'll be asked based on their questionnaire, like, oh, you answered this for this question about like sexual assault. Talk to me about that and stuff like that. They will be interrogated themselves before they actually do it. I didn't think it was that deep. I thought, but then when you think about what's at stake, it makes sense. Like you want to make sure you are getting the best players in this game, right?
That are going to side with what you're saying, or even just like understand, align with what you're saying.
Exactly,
as well,
or at least someone that you can convince.
Peak, right? Both sides choose.
Yes, and then I'm pretty sure they can eliminate from. I think it started with 40 jury members, and then they get to eliminate. Like from each side there's a certain number that they get to eliminate based on either some like stuff that you can't argue against, like if someone's related to P. Diddy, obviously they can't be in it, or something like that, or they've worked for him or something like that, and it could be sometimes for no reason at all. They can eliminate them if they just get a different vibe off them. They have a certain amount of numbers that they can pick, which I didn't know all this, so it's very interesting to see like the game that's being played in the courtroom. And I feel like I wish we could be flies on the wall and just like really listen. See,
but it's also really scary, like how much evidence someone can have.
For sure. Or so how much they can come up with.
Yes.
That's the other thing.
But even, no, I'm saying with Cassie, like how much evidence she can prove and show.
Yeah.
And like even the age difference at the time. Yep. And it really doesn't mean much. Like it really shows that like power, money can really get you out of it.
For sure.
And so it's like scary. Yeah. I don't know, to me it's scary. It's like how much does a woman have to prove to be protected in like
any case,
you know what I mean? But like I guess protected from the law, like how much is the law doing for us really? True. And it's what you said before, it's like imagine women without money and without this kind of backing, who just have to kind of like be quiet. Or just have to,
and it's just,
you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. You don't have to be. I mean, you don't have to be, but it's like I understand the trauma and the pain and the fear you would go through to be able to come out and speak out and feel like you're not being believed by people.
That
you know
part.
What I mean?
And the thing about Cassie is like, oh my gosh, the amount of regardless of how she was involved in this, okay, we don't know the truth of everything, right? We don't know the absolute truth. We can never know. Yeah. Only they know. Yeah. But regardless of that, she was obviously abused. That is something we can't deny because we've seen it with our own eyes and like video footage. That is something that they can never take away from her, and that's something that she's had to work on herself, whether there was a trial or not. This is something that she's had to work through. Yeah. Even tomorrow, if she wins or she doesn't win, she's still having to deal with the trauma of been in such an abusive relationship for like a decade as well. That's the crazy part.
For such a long time. And you can even the text messages that I saw, like they were talking about the text messages in 2020. Yeah, and it's like, I
haven't seen that. Talk to them about what that.
Yeah, so there were these text messages, and they were talking about how like, oh, she was like, he was messaging her, being like, reaching out, oh, how are you? Or like, you know, I'm so happy to see you in this place. Like, you know, I have so much love and respect for you and your marriage. And then it like kind of just goes down to him being like, eventually being like, you know, we should meet up. And she was like, oh no, like she kind of was like, she was being sweet.
Brushing it off,
He's like,
yeah.
oh, you know, I can't believe we're still alive. Like we went through so much is what he said.
Yeah.
We went hard, you know,
Yeah,
and God
yeah.
was really looking over us. And she was like, you know, as much as we went through, something about like you were really like a light in my life or something like that.
Like I couldn't
And
be here without you or
I
something.
couldn't be
to
here
this
without
point.
you. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I feel like for someone, people might look at that and be like, oh, if she was abused,
Yeah.
then
Why would she be
why
saying
would
that?
she be saying that? Or, you know, like if she really hated him, like why wasn't he blocked or this or that? And it's like,
It's not black and white
it's
like
never
that.
black and
It's
white.
not
And I
like-
feel like, again, it comes down to like, there's no perfect victim. People, it's like, you're in a mindset.
Yes.
Like you've already kind of solidified this like, I don't know, this mindset that like, I guess, or like this power position dynamic that you have with this person, right? It's similar. It reminded me of the Michaela Testa and like Anna Paul situation. Where like, even after she said all this stuff or years of whatever, all this stuff had happened, she reached out being like, hey girl, let's shoot content together and this and that.
I know,
And it's
yeah.
like,
Or
Michaela
yeah,
reached
yeah,
out
yeah.
and it was like, you know, people look at it as like, oh, if you hate this woman so much, why are you trying to meet her and why are you trying to do that? But I'm like, I just feel like people don't really, it's like when you're abused, you really don't understand like the like autonomy you have over your own body, over your
For
own
sure.
like just over yourself.
Yeah,
really, you know
literally,
what I mean?
autonomy. You
Like
said
you're
it
just kind of
perfect.
like, I don't know. It's almost like you owe this person something.
That's it. And that's
yeah.
it. You're attached.
Yeah.
And even if it's like you're used to, it's a conditioning you're used to, from what I've read and understood, it's like a conditioning that you've gone through to appease this person at whatever means, like the person who's abusing you. Stockholm Syndrome, that's what it is, right? Like you're so used to just doing what you can to please them, to appease them, to have them love you or whatever. It's like it gets to a point where you can't even help it, like, because that's what you're just used to doing,
Yeah.
conditioning. So it's not so much like, oh, if this person's bad, then why are you talking to them? But it's not that, like, it's something
that
that has
simple.
been that has been built,
built, yeah.
a conditioning that has been instilled in them for usually a long period of time.
Absolutely.
And that's what, yeah, that's the consequence of it. One of the consequences of it is like you really have to get out of your own head and out of that situation in your head.
Yeah.
And I pray, man, I pray for her. I pray for all the
her
victims that aren't
too.
heard, and just, yeah, I pray that
Honestly,
Just get through it.
you said that perfectly. I'm
Yeah.
like, really, my heart goes out to her. And
Yeah.
like, even just people watching that and being like
Triggered,
or
yeah.
traumatized, from that.
It's a lot.
It is a lot.
And I guess the world is talking about it. You can't help but talk about it. But just like, I guess, remember that we will never really know what happened between the two of them, and just looking at it from the outside.
Let's move on to the final segment of
Yeah.
the episode. This is the dilemma segment.
What's that? And I was like, shout out to Dilemma.
Shout out to Dilemma. Shout out to the person that sent this one in. Guys, as you know, you can send them in every week. So this one I like this one because
Okay.
it's just relevant. How do you know the difference between settling for someone and knowing relationships have ebbs and flows?
Oh.
Yeah, I found this one so interesting because it's like, it's hard. Like, you know, I spoke about this like not long ago, and not on the podcast, just having conversation. And it's like, it's so hard because relationships, I think we are like taught to feel like, oh, it's just your person. You just know when it's right and it's always going to be that. But also we know now that it's like they're not always going to be perfect and smooth sailing, right? You're
Yeah.
going to have moments where it's like just everyday person. It's just up and down. And it's like, you know, you just kind of, you're making it work because you're choosing to make it work.
Yeah.
Which, yeah, is a whole thing in
It's a
itself. Like
whole
it's
thing.
almost like you've chosen to be content with this person.
Yeah.
And because you've chosen that, you are willing to make it work, similar to the way you are with family or like a friend, where you're just like, I love you regardless of the situation. But how do you know if it's that, or if you're settling for someone that, you know, you've kind of just, you feel like let's just talk about it. If it was a guy, like you're a good guy, you treat me well, you have good qualities, character is great, you're so sweet with my family, you know, and you're just a nice person.
Yeah.
Is that like, how do you know the difference between like, okay, am I just like, he's a good guy, or
tricky.
like, this is really
It's a
not for
tricky
me?
one. Yeah, I guess again it comes down to the whole, it's not as easy as, it's not black and white. And obviously when you've been used to watching social media when you watch social media a lot or media and how it portrays relationships as something that is black and white or romanticizes it a lot, it's really hard to then apply it to your real life and be like, oh, so is this meant to be like this and it can't be any other way? But I think the only thing I can say about this is like pay attention to your relationship and like you need to, obviously we appreciate you coming and asking on the Bittersweet podcast, but I feel like you have to, in deep in your heart. And I think like we always say this and it's easy to say that, but just having more conversations with yourself and going back into yourself, into your relationship and being like, hey, like where are we at? What does this actually look like moving forward? And do we see this moving forward? Because I think in the end of the day, like you both know before anybody else does. So,
and sometimes you don't both know. Like, let me say this because I love that you said like pay attention to your relationship and listen to yourself, because I would say like this time, like last year, I was very much like it was very hard for me to be like, oh, I trust my own feelings.
Intuition,
even though I'm like, because sometimes I'm like, okay, I over intellectualize a lot of things. I'm like, okay, maybe I am feeling this, but also like logically it makes sense to do this.
Yes.
And I'm telling you that when you know is such an eye roll, but when you know.
Yeah,
like,
and I learned that from you.
Feeling,
I'm still learning it. Like it's not, deep feeling.
A deep feeling. And
intuition.
I think also for people that don't know how to believe that trust in themselves, I would say like document your feelings. Like think about, okay, give yourself X amount of time and really be like, okay, how am I feeling now? How am I feeling now? How am I feeling now? And like pay attention to that feeling, because really more time you do know, you just don't want to believe it, or you're not ready to accept. I feel like we know when we know, but we don't know we're not ready to accept it when we know.
That's the part.
And that's the problem. And that's okay if you're not ready to accept it, but pay attention to how you're feeling. And then make the call, because also life is running, as my dad would say, life is running, guys.
running.
Run, you gotta run with it, or it's just gonna keep going,
Yeah,
So-
it's really hard. Like it's so hard. And what you said, we talk about, or we hear a lot of people talking about, listen to your intuition, when you know, all of that. And like you said, it can seem a bit cliche, but we don't talk enough about accepting that decision of like, oh, now I know what I know. What do I do about it? That part is harder. I feel like sometimes
It is.
It's harder.
It is harder because
to make
you
moves.
know, but you're just like, what do I do?
Now?
What does the other side of it look like?
Yeah, especially when there's a lot at stake.
Yes.
When there's a lot of maybe time that has passed.
Yes.
Together.
Time
it can be
or
emotion, experiences, challenges, a lot of things when you've gone through it. And if you feel like you've gotten through, like you've tried everything.
Yes.
Then you have to kind of admit it. And I think sometimes it has to get to that point. Sometimes people are a lot more in tune with themselves, and I respect and envy you actually, like to be able to just be like, oh, I trust myself enough to know that this is the right decision I'm making. I really respect you for that, but it's not always easy like that.
Sometimes
for
people are very logical and being like, okay, well, that was great. Now I'm like ready to move. Like I'm just gonna move on. And then they jump to the next thing, and I respect that too. And I almost feel like we should be more like that. Like,
It'd be
and
great
the reason
if we could
I
be.
know, and the thing is, that's not to say like when you love, don't love hard and don't be vulnerable. It's like still do all those things. But I think the other side of that to me is like I deserve myself to be loved and deserve to be happy myself.
Yeah.
So am I gonna sit down and just like, if I know the answer, am I going to sit in this for, how long am I going to sit in it for? It's just detrimental to myself.
That's
and
where
like,
it's a problem
we need
now,
to be more considerate of ourselves when sometimes, like, and I feel like, obviously love is very selfless as well. And it's always about, it's not always about pouring into the other person, but it is a lot of that.
A huge factor.
And so I think sometimes we need to be like, okay, well, what do I need? Yes, I love this person. Yes, I'm sad this person's feelings are going to be hurt, or this and this is going to happen. But low key, it's also my life.
Well, that's what you said. You said it perfect about pouring. It is a huge factor, pouring into someone in a relationship. But if it's at the cost of pouring out of you, then that's when you know that's something, red flags. Yeah, for sure. I think that's the stuff we should be paying attention to. And personally, I don't think all the superficial shit counts for anything. I'm sorry. I just feel like things that people can't change about themselves, like, oh, like his beard is not connecting, or her, like, I don't know, just like dumb things like that. I feel like it doesn't make sense, because I'm like, okay, let's look at the foundational things here, and what is actually going to make a relationship last is not if the guy is Oh, I'm gonna give
I
hate to
hear
the
you,
tall
I hear
people.
you.
Like
I knew it was coming,
girl. But I
knew
just
it
feel
was
like
coming.
it's easy to say this. Yes,
It is,
I'm
yeah.
sure. But I'm just like, really though, we all know this. I'm sure.
Yeah.
Hopefully, you're not gonna
I mean, I hope so.
write
Yeah,
someone
yeah.
off because of that. But even in that topic of the if the man like the experiences thing again, this is where, because I know people that are happy to be with someone who doesn't necessarily earn the same as amount of them or even less, but they're happy because they're like, I can give these experiences to myself and I don't need this to be a part of my relationship. But I think, again, this is what goes back to about if you are pouring into this person at the cost of yourself, like, again, you're giving up so much of yourself and the things you like and the things that you cherish, then that's a problem.
Yeah.
From both sides. If you're
Yeah.
giving up so much, if it's something that you do like because it's just something you both like to do, it's different. But if it's something where you're like, I am sacrificing a lot of myself and my needs and my wants at the sake of this person, then that's when
it's time
things have
yeah.
to change.
Yeah.
Things have
and
to change.
I think that's a good point. I think it also matters like your expectations of a relationship, because sometimes I can fully understand where it's like I can experience these things on my own or with my friends, and that's fine. But sometimes it's like, what dynamic do I want to have with my man?
That's
and
it.
what like
That's
is
it.
that me being like, you know what I mean? It's like,
but this is what I'm saying. I feel like
catered to or
it's
whatever.
case to case. Yeah,
it
for
is case
sure.
to case for sure. And I feel like everyone has their own, like, I would do this and I wouldn't do that. So that's a good point.
Yeah.
But how do you know if it's ebbs and flows? I think you just trust your gut.
Trust
sis.
your
I'm
gut.
sorry
I
to
know
say
it's so
this, such
cliche, but like really, but what practical skills that when Tana said before about writing down, like maybe
How
you can
you
do
feel.
a personal documentation of your own feelings and just like, even if you're not a writer or something, write a list, like write a quick list.
Yeah.
Don't have to be a journaling thing, but it could just be like a list. Okay, cool. How am I feeling? Or it could just be a little question, like, how am I feeling today? I'm not feeling this. Why? And really expand on why you don't, where that feeling is coming from.
Yeah. And figure out I feel like a lot of us, including myself, don't know what we want.
Amen.
There's a lot of like, oh, you know what I mean? I want to feel like this, and like he doesn't do this, and da da da. But it's like, what are the key things, the foundational
that
things
you want,
that you really want from a long-term partner? And I think we don't know that. And it's time to get to know yourself a little bit more, so that you can figure out what you need when you're looking for someone in a relationship, and so you can communicate it.
Facts.
Because it's easy to say, I don't want this, I don't want that, but it's like, do you know what you actually want?
Do you actually want, and are you being influenced without external stuff? Which is why I said, like, it's so easy to get distracted with social media and the media, but like, go back into yourself, go back into your relationship and just focus. And I'm guilty of this too, don't get me wrong. Like, it's so hard, especially in the age of social media, to not take things, internalize things that people are saying, but really you have to look at within. It's so
Look
corny,
within.
but like, look within.
Relationship therapist?
Oh no, I don't take that.
I don't know. I'm kind of.
Should we start charging people?
I feel like we should start. I feel like this should be Patreon, guys. Yeah.
Oh, well, put it in the comments if y'all want a Patreon for Bittersweet.
No, I love your dilemmas, guys. Send them through. As you know, every week, send them through. All the links in our bios on all our social platforms. Before we end this episode as well, I just want to do one shout out. Guys, we're having 2 live shows in the month of May. So one is coming up on Friday, the 23rd of May. And then the following one will be Friday, the 30th of May. We're doing all things love, relationships, marriage, divorce. We're talking about rosters. We're talking about dating, what men and women really want from your favorite faces across Melbourne. Guys, I said faces, voices, same thing, but you guys know what I mean. I'm telling you, you don't want to miss this one. So get your ticket. Get your tickets. Link is going to be in the description as always. I really want to see you guys there. We haven't had a live show in 2 years.
I can't. When you said that, I was like, I can't believe that.
It's been 2 years. Yeah, 2023 was the last time I had it.
Wow.
With Rahel. So now this is going to be a bit different, guys.
It's a different setup too this time, guys. So
exactly. So it's going to be a good time. Make sure you get your ticket. And I want to say a big thank you to my sis Milena for jumping on this week's episode. Thanks for having me on. You were good, sis. I love having you on, sis.
I love being here. Thank you for having me. Chats, vibes.
Where can the people find you?
Well, I should start. No, find me on TikTok and Instagram. I'm trying to build my content, as y'all hopefully see. Anyway, make sure y'all follow me on TikTok and Instagram, and we're gonna come back on YouTube. We'll plug it in later on. We're coming back.
We can't wait for that, sis. We're already loving the
can't wait.
content.
Thank you.
Guys, thank you so much for tuning into this week's episode, and I will see you guys again next week. Peace.
Bye.